Hi everyone, welcome back here on this channel. So I am so glad that you're back here again, and we are back for another video. So hi, I am Joshua R. Alvarez, and by the way, this video is in completion of my task 1 or introduction to counseling. So I chose the problem-oriented experience, which tasked me to record a video of myself explaining the stages and process of counseling. So we're going to tackle about what's more with counseling, techniques, stages, and such. If you are interested, then just keep on watching. Alright, so this video will be categorized into 3 parts. So what are the 3 parts? So first part, we're going to talk about the stages of counseling. On the second part, we're going to talk about the process of counseling. And on the third one, I'm going to give you a bonus lesson on some techniques or some strategies in doing counseling so that we can land an effective counseling process. So if you're excited to learn with me, then just keep on watching. So let's start this video. So first, we are going to talk about the 3 stages of counseling. So I've tried to search and I've tried to see a lot on the internet. There's actually a lot of model on the stages of counseling, but I've just got some gist on the simplest one so that I can better present it to you. 3-stage model. So in helping skills in practice, a 3-stage model by Dr. Clara E. Hill demonstrates her 3-stage model of helping clients. This 3-stage approach involves exploration, insight, and action. The exploration stage is based on client-centered theory and aims to help clients explore their thoughts and feelings. So the insight stage, which is based on psychodynamic theory, involves helping clients understand the reason for their thoughts and feelings. The action stage is based on the behavioral theory, centers on helping clients make desired changes in their lives. And this model emphasizes a number of themes, including empathy, collaboration with the client throughout the therapy, cultural considerations, and a focus on what the individual client needs. And there are also a lot of models that are presented in the stages of counseling. But on this video, we are going to talk about the 3 stages. So on the first stages, based on the reading materials that was given to us by Miss Ida. So first to that is the exploration stage, and the second would be the interpretative stage, and the third is the adjustment stage. Consider the acronym EIA. So EIA, exploration, interpretation, or the interpretative and the adjustment stage. All right, so let's tackle each one of them. All right, so first, let's talk about the exploration or the exploratory stage. So in this stage, it is the facts about the individual. So problem brought out and organized, and this is the assessment. So exploratory stage, basically get the word exploration. So this is where the counselor gets some facts, do the assessment, or make sure that the counselor is assessing the counselee or the client so that he or she can get the facts. So this is where the problem is brought about. So the counselor would ask a series of questions to the counselee so that the counselee could be able to better express, and so that the counselor could get a glimpse or an insights and different interpretation in terms of the statements that was given to the counselor, and so that the counselor could organize as well the thoughts that or the facts that was given by the counselee or the client. So this is like an assessment stage. This is where the counselor explores the thoughts, the problems, and the statements of the counselee by asking series of questions and making sure that the counselor has the active listening skills, so that he or she can manage to get some pieces and context clues and such that to the counselee to better come up with a better plan, strategy, or resolution to the problem. All right, so we're done now to the exploratory stage. So now we will go to the second stage. So this is now the interpretative stage. So what is happening to the interpretative stage? So interpretative stage, it is the studying of the facts. So this is the seeing facts clearly and what they mean. So basically, the interpretative stage is the interpretation stage. Interpretation in terms of the statements, the problems that was given to him or her by the counselee or the client. So look back and recall all those statements and put them together in order to create a more solidified resolution or plan of action for the counselee or the client. So we're not going to study the facts. So what are the things that, or the problems that was presented or expressed to us during the exploratory stage. So we are going to interpret, we're going to see what they mean about that, this and that. So this includes a lot of critical thinking work. Interpretative stage, or the interpretation of the facts or what the statements from the counselee mean to the counselor. All right, with all the process or with all the stages that we've been through, exploratory, interpretative, lastly we are down to the adjustment stage. So what is happening to the adjustment stage? So in the adjustment stage, it is where the counselor translate the insights into action. It's like a call to action. What are we going to do next after gaining the problem, after analyzing, after putting meaning on the statements that was given to us by the counselor or the client? It is now asking ourselves, how are we going to execute the interpretation or the meaning that was given to us by the counselee or the client? So it is like the call to action. So it is now the evaluation. How are we going to plan out? How are we going to put into action the plans that we had from the assessment, from the interpretation, and now down to the adjustment? So this is the last stage, as this is now translating all the facts, all the objective signs or the observations that we have on the counselee. Now we are going to transform the plan on how we can improve or resolution to the problem presented. So these three stages works hand in hand in order to make an impactful, effective, and much more solidified counseling process. So we have to go through these stages strictly in order to find out what are the needs, or what do we have to properly do to remedy the problem of our counselee or our client. Now we are down to the counseling process. So now we are done with the stages. Again, consider the EIA, exploratory, interpretative, and adjustment stages. Now we are down to the second part of this video, the counseling process. So now counseling process, before diving in, I've also searched a lot of facts in the internet and also do some research on some counseling process. And today I'm going to present it to you in the most simplest, brief way possible, so that you'll be able to gain also some insights and some understanding about what are the counseling process and why do we have to treat our counseling as a process. All right, so according to my research, the counseling process is a planned, structured dialogue between a counselor and a client. It is a cooperative process in which a trained professional helps a person called the client to identify sources of difficulties or concerns that he or she is experiencing. Together, they develop ways to deal with and overcome this problem so that the person has new skills and an increased understanding of themselves and others. So this is a two-way process. So a counseling process, it is not just, a simple interview. It is planned, it is structured, it has system. So today I'm going to present you only the 5 counseling process. So take note of this 5 counseling process, as this 5 counseling process would help you in better come up and better in bettering your counseling process so that it is more organized, structured, and effective as what we are aiming to achieve. Let us tackle with the step 1. So step 1 is the relationship building. So when you say relationship building, this will fall under the building of the rapport and making sure that the client and the counselor would build trust to each other so that the counselor could get objective facts about the statements of the counselee so that they'll be able to work together on the plan or the resolution that they are going to achieve. But the objective in the relationship building is to build the trust and get the trust of the counselee or the client so that they can better express to the counselor. So in relationship building, that includes the counselor now would take note about the verbal and non-verbal cues that the counselee or the client is showing, and this is also part where the counselee would note if the counselor is sincere, are they matched, were they able to empathize, and does the client saw the counselor as genuine. Alright, so the second process of counseling was the problem assessment. So in the problem assessment, while you're building the rapport on the first step, you're now seeing why the counselee or the client seek counseling, why he or she went on the counseling process, so that you'll be able to get to know more what they want to express, what they want to get rid of, what's the problem. So problem assessment is like a classification of the problem that is presented to you by your counselor or your client. So this involves the collection of the information about the situation of the client and the reason, for seeking counseling in the first place. And the third process would be the goal setting. So like any other process in counseling, we also set goals. What's like the purpose? What's the goal of the counseling process? What's the goal of you doing the counseling? What do you want to get rid of? So in this activity, goals are the result or the outcomes that the client wants to achieve at the end of the counseling. So it plays an important role as you have to know where the counseling is going. It's like giving it a direction so that you'll be able to get notified and aware of what you're trying to resolve in this conflict, matter, or problem per se. After the goal setting, the fourth step in the counseling process would be the intervention. So intervention is important as you have to intently divulge or dive into the statements or the problems that you got from your counselor. So intervention is becoming involved intently to the problem presented by your counselor or the client. So this involves sincerity. If you're really willing to sincerely help the client or the counselor, so that involves empathy, sincerity, and what are you going to do with all the facts or the problems that you have given or that you have gathered from objectively from is the one that you're doing the counseling with. Lastly, the fifth process would be the evaluation, follow-up, and the termination or referral. So this step 5 is very crucial, as this will be the determining factor of the effectivity of the counseling. So this is like, did you met the objectives that you are aiming? Did you achieve what you're looking for? Did you achieve what you want in terms of counseling per se that you did? So every counseling aims for a successful termination, but if that doesn't work, then you have to do referral. So that's why we are doing an evaluation or a follow-up in order to see the effectivity or what's been the intensity of the counseling been like to the counselee or the client, if that took effect, if not, and such that. So these 5 steps go hand in hand in making sure that the counseling would come together as one with objective, successful, and effective counseling process. So we can skip one part as each one plays role to one another. So RPGCE. So if you want to remember it better, consider the RPGCE. So R for relationship building, P for problem assessment, G for goal setting, C for counseling or counseling intervention, and letter E for evaluation, follow-up, termination, or referral. All right. So having said that, having discussed the stages of counseling, the counseling process, now for the bonus lesson, I'm going to give you the counseling process strategy or technique. So having considered all the broad outline of strategies of therapy, this time the specific techniques and concepts in the counseling process. So what do you have to be, or what qualities or characteristics that you have to possess in order to meet and do an effective counseling as much as possible? All right. So first is be prepared. So being prepared as a counselor is like being prepared mentally, emotionally, physically, anything. Just be prepared. Especially if you're there, you have to prepare in terms of your attitude, in terms of your guidance, in terms of your understanding. Do not come to the counseling if you're not ready, because that's just mean that you are not ready to meet the best possible outcome of the counseling purpose. What do I mean by that? So being prepared is like preparing yourself for anything that may come your way. So you have to go on two-way process, go hand in hand, and you have to help intently, sincerely. You have to be prepared. All right. Second is be a good listener. And by being a good listener, it's not just listening to reply. It's listening to understand, listening to grasp what's the main point or the main purpose of the counselee or the client expressing to you. So you have to listen intently. Listen with the intention of understanding. And third, you have to make your counseling a process. Like what I've said earlier, you have to make it a process or a system so that you can maintain the professionalism of the entire counseling. So now, we are not just talking here counseling that it is just an interview. It's not. It's a therapeutic conversation between the client and the counselor. So it should go hand in hand, and you have to set aside serious problems. So if you have your own traumas, set it aside. That's part of the preparation stage. You have to make it a process. So take note of the process presented earlier, the 5 counseling process and the 3 stages of counseling, so that you are guided wherever you go. Next is to encourage complete discussion. You should not invalidate the conversation based on the level of your sensitivity. You have to encourage complete discussion. Encourage repeated discussion. So if the counselee or the client is not that specific, be more accepting. Ask more and make sure that you are doing a complete discussion and not just getting some glimpse and part of the conversation without finishing the tea. So you have to always have a complete discussion with your client. Next is accept the counselee as a worthy person. So accepting them without judgment will make you an effective counselor. So you have to accept them whatever and whoever they are, as they are also trying to seek help from you. So they want you to help them, not to judge them. All right. Next is don't be shocked. So be prepared. Don't be shocked on the statements that your counselee or your client is saying. Mind your expression as much as possible. Be neutral. Do not overreact the counseling process, because if you're going to do so, you're going to defy the purpose of the counseling, because you're just there to judge. So don't be so shocked. Don't be too over not caring. Just be neutral. Be present. Be present. Be neutral. Don't overreact. All right. Next is use open-ended question. So by using open-ended question, you're encouraging your client or your counselee to express more. What do you want to say more? I am willing to listen. I am willing to listen to you. I am here. I am present. So give the open-ended question and not the answerable by yes or no as much as possible. All right. Next is do not be an answer man. So don't answer right away. Fully understand. So this is not your story to begin with. So this should be like you're there to guide the counselor or the client to achieve their full potential, to better themselves, to improve their decisions, to help them navigate where they have to go. It is not you trying to impart them or impose what you are going through and what you've been through and giving unsolicited advice, but instead you're there to help them intently. All right. Next is to don't overestimate the problem. So make sure that you are measuring the severity of the problem right. So recognize that there is like the severity of the problem. Don't overestimate the fact that it didn't happen to you, so it should not happen to them. Don't compare as much as possible. All right. And also, by not overestimating, you are also not underestimating the problem, because that would be a big problem if prolonged. All right. So next is you have to reflect his statements. So part of a good counselor is reflecting and making sure that you are paraphrasing the statements of your counselor or the client in a rightful manner. So for example, you have to focus on the feelings. So paraphrase it. Do not repeat what they've said, but instead focus on the feelings. Paraphrase it in your own understanding. That way you're showing that you're listening intently and you have the active listening, that you are really there for them. All right. Next is to clarify his feelings. So that is also connected to the reflecting the statements. So understand the feelings and emotions. So clarify. So did you feel sad, miserable during that time? So clarify the feelings and make sure that you're focusing on the feelings, as it is important in navigating resolution and getting rid of the problem. All right. And next is to listen for themes. So you have to make sure that you are connecting the context clues that you're getting from the statements of the counselee or your client. And you have to limit each interview. So you have to limit it, preferably less than 1 hour of counseling is advisable, as longer than that would mean like it would not go somewhere. So you're just circulating again and again there. And next, second to the last, is to help the counselee to understand themselves. So you are there as a counselor to make them feel better, to make them understand themselves and not to judge them. So make sure that you help them navigate through the right path that they want. All right. Lastly is to never argue. So never argue to the counselee or to the client, because that is not the purpose of the counseling process. So think widely, make sure that you validate them, and never argue. Never argue, because they are already broken. They are seeking help. They are not there to prove that they are going through something more than you. So always put yourself outside the situation. Be there, be present, and listen intently. Be empathetic, active listening as always, and be sincere. Just be sincere. All right, so that are the techniques for counseling process. All right, so that ends the 3 categories of this video. So I hope that I was able to impart knowledge to your end right now. I hope that you got a lot from here, as I did, and also I hope that you enjoyed this video. So I'll be attaching more photos at the end of this video, and also gonna add references to show you where I got some facts and researches that I did, so that you'll be able to see as well for yourself if you want to research further. So I think that's it. What I learned in this video is that counseling process follows a systematic approach. It is not just an interview. I learned here that there's more to counseling, and we are going to learn more as we progress in this subject. And I am so excited to learn more, to dive more to the facts and to the information that I'm going to get from Miss Ida, and to the reading materials that she provided to us. So as of the moment, I'll keep learning, I'll keep bettering myself. And if you have any questions, suggestions, comment down. I hope that you enjoyed this video, specifically about counseling. And yeah, that's it for now, and see you on my next video. Once again, this is Josh. Keep safe, keep bettering yourself, and never stop learning. Bye for now. And yeah, I hope the best for you. And Miss Ida, if you are watching this, thank you so much for guiding us to this subject. You are the best. Bye for now. Bye guys.